All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to be here to kick off FloorCon 2023. As usual, FloorCon follows the places that John Weller lives. He moved from Sarasota to Amelia Island. So, John, we're wondering where you're moving next, where the next FloorCon is going to actually happen. So today, I want to talk about the most popular question we are asked by flooring retailers. Now, you can imagine we get asked all different types of questions. And when I thought about all the different types of questions we get asked, I could categorize that into just one question and something that resonates with me and our business a lot. And that question is, how do we grow better? Right? Consistently we're asked, hey Todd, how do we grow better? How do we grow our revenues? How do we grow our profits? How do we grow our team? How do we grow our experiences? Right? And when I think about all of that, you can kind of just summarize and say it, how do we grow better? So today we're going to talk about how I view how we can grow better at Broadloom and what you guys can do to grow better within your business. And when I thought about how do we grow better, there's really been two milestones in my life that have shaped my opinion of growing better. And these two milestones have shaped kind of every step in our journey at Broadloom, and I want to share those two milestones with you. The first one was the birth of my daughter, Amelia. Oh yeah, sure. Definitely no coincidence that her name is Amelia and FloorCon's in Amelia Island, but we'll get past that here for a second. Amelia's 4 months old, and I want to give you all of the advice of how I've taught her to grow better, but the truth is, in the first 4 months, you're not really teaching anything. You're just really hoping they sleep and stop crying. But it has taught me, it has me understand, as a new parent and as a lot as you can relate, it's scary, right? You're excited, the anticipation is there, you're about to have your first child, but you have no damn idea what you're getting yourself into, right? No idea. But every day that goes by, you learn a little bit more and you think you know a lot, and then all of a sudden, you know nothing, right? And that's been my experience learning with Amelia, and I'm sure you guys have a ton of advice that you can give me. So I'll push away from my first milestone here, and I'll leave that conversation maybe for the bar later around a few drinks or a lot of drinks. I'll take some advice from you guys. But there is actually my firstborn that I learned a lot about growing better. Broadloom is celebrating their 9th birthday this year. A little round of applause for the team here. This was actually our first birthday party. The team looks a little different now. We're about 150 people, not 6 people in a tiny little office with mice. But yeah, we're celebrating our 9th birthday. And you know, growing over 9 years, we've been able to learn a lot. So after reflecting on my firstborn being 9 years old and my newborn being 4 months old, I started to think about what are the similarities between growing a human and growing a business. So I sat down with my wife and I was like, tell me what you think growing a human is like after 4 months of expertise, and I'll tell you what I think growing a business is like, and maybe we can agree on a few things. So I want to share some of those similarities with you guys today. First one, they both involve a moment of passion followed by years of hard work. I think we can all agree that growing a human and growing a business, yeah, that works. The second one, neither one will make money for the first couple of years. Who can resonate with that one? I'm learning that every single day. I had no idea babies were so damn expensive. All right, next. People will find you annoying because it's all you talk about at the bar. I can relate to this one. Before Amelia was born, if we were at a bar with all of our friends, I was the flooring guy, and I was talking about all different types of flooring, and now when I'm at the bar, I'm like, hey, let me tell you, last night I didn't get much sleep. My daughter's teething. What do you think about that? And they're like, God damn. All right. The next one, and I know you all can relate to this one. It's not as easy as your friends in the Facebook groups make it out to be. Now, I know all of you guys are in the flooring retailer group, and you're in the flooring dealers and more group, and there's a lot of advice and people telling you how easy it is. Well, let me tell you, I'm in the Westfield High School Dads of 2050, and they make it seem super easy in that group. It's not that easy. All right, the next one. Around year 2, you'll probably decide to not have another one. But then usually around 2.5, another one surprisingly comes up, and you're like, oh yeah, we'll do this again. I'm sure a lot of you can relate that in your stores. After year 1, year 2, you're like, why the hell did I do this? But then I see you year 3, and you're like, yes, open a second location. This is great. And then lastly, all the wrong people give you advice. Trust me, I'm learning this. When you have a baby, everyone comes over your house, and everyone has an opinion. One person says, does it this way. The next person that comes to your house, it's the exact opposite way. And I'm sure you get the same thing when you run your business day to day. And actually, I have one more. The last one will be, there are days where you want to sell them. Right? Let me tell you, my daughter's teething, her hands in her mouth, she's screaming, it's 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I'm like, oof, I'm in this for a lot of years. Now, you guys in your business, I'm sure you feel the same. 6 months in, 1 year in, 10 years in, you're like, is there anyone here that's going to buy this business? So here are the similarities between growing a human and growing a business. I'm sure I missed some. We can talk about others later on, but this was like a comprehensive list for me of how you grow a human and how you grow a business. Pretty similar, I guess. By the way, my wife would be appalled if I compared those two. But the overall lesson of these two things, truthfully, when I thought about it, is you start out knowing nothing. You're completely clueless. Right? You have your firstborn, you're like, you have all this stuff, you end up using none of it, and you realize you just need to learn how to change a diaper and get some sleep. When you open up a store or a showroom, you're preparing, you're doing all this, and the truth is everything you plan for goes out the window day 1. Right? You come into this completely clueless, thinking you might be prepared and know everything, and the truth is you know nothing. So again, my daughter's only 4 months old, so I'm not going to stand up here and tell you guys how you can grow a 4-month-old to a 10-month-old to an 18-year-old to a 25-year-old, but I can help talk about the 3 lessons we have learned growing Broadloom and what you can take away in how to grow better. And again, today is all going to be about how can you grow better. So, the first lesson, build a company that thinks about the customer first. Now, that's something that's really, really easy to say, and a lot of people say it. It's super trendy to say it. I hear this a lot. We're customer obsessed, right? We always think about the customer. Customer first, customer first, customer first. And most of the time when a company says that to me, the reality of the situation is when they look in the mirror, they're company obsessed, right? We need to be customer obsessed. We need to put the customer first. We need to put the customer experience first. But a lot of times in business, we're too worried about vanity. We're too worried about the awards we can win. We're too worried about the company profile. But we need to be customer obsessed. I also hear, no, we're customer first. We're a customer first company. That's in our mantra. And the truth is, that's really awesome to say. But in reality, it's customer eventually. Right? And if we want to grow our business, what we need to put first is the customer experience and putting the customer first. Now, at Broadloom, it's very similar. There's actually supposed to be a little emoji there, so forget that box. At Broadloom, it's similar. I keep saying that you guys in your stores, you need to be customer first, but I'm not trying to point fingers. It's us too. Right? We need to be customer first. We need to do a better job at Broadloom becoming customer first and customer obsessed. And to be frank, stop looking at vanity metrics of ourselves and really start looking at the truth. We need to start breaking bad habits, right? We've brought on a lot of bad habits. I'm sure you guys know this as well. You guys have had a lot of bad habits. And yes, I did superimpose John's face on the Breaking Bad picture. It took me a little bit to do that. So thank you, John, for the beautiful headshot. One of my favorite quotes about customer experience is something that really resonated with me and really what we're thinking about going into next year of Broadloom, and this is a quote from Brian Halligan, the CEO of HubSpot. He says, you don't need to make your product 10 times better. You need to make your experience 10 times lighter. And when I saw that quote, it really resonated with not just me at Broadloom, but when I think about the flooring industry, we're constantly trying to innovate new products. We're constantly talking about the locking mechanisms and how different the product is over and over and over again. But if you talk to retailers, what they want the experience to be 10 times better. They want the experience to be 10 times lighter. They don't need a 10 times stronger, durable, scratch-proof, rigid, whatever other words you want to make. What they want is they want the experience to be 10 times lighter. So I want you really to think about that when you work with your manufacturers, and I want you really to think about that when you work with your customers. And listen, I'm happy to say that everyone here, all of the suppliers and all the manufacturers that are here at the trade show, the reason they're here is because they've committed to building a better experience, and they know it's not all about product. Product is obviously important, but the reason they're here is because they believe this. They believe that the experience needs to be 10 times lighter. And I want you guys to think about that when you're in your store. So, like I said, at Broadloom, we need to get back to our roots. We need to create an experience that delights you, right? We don't want to just make you happy. We want to delight you. And I think that's what you guys need to do in your showrooms and with your customers as well. You don't want them to leave there with a smile. You want them to leave there feeling delighted, right? When they feel delighted, they end up referring their friends. They end up referring their family. And it creates a totally different experience for you, your customers, and your future customers. So when I thought about delighted, I was like, how do you define delighted? Like, there's happiness, there's ecstatic, there's excited, but what does delighted really mean? Delighted means not just happy, it means filled with happiness. So how can we build an experience for your customers where they are filled with happiness? How can the suppliers build an experience for you that is filled with happiness? How at Broadloom can we delight you and completely fill you with happiness? It's something we think about all the time at Broadloom. How can we delight our customers? And then how can we help you delight your customers? And when I mean delight, I truly mean filled with happiness. Like John Weller level filled with happiness. This is the level of happiness I'm talking about. Truly filled with happiness. I'm talking about Amelia when she wakes up in the morning filled with happiness. Cue video.
She is the naked girl, the naked girl, the naked girl. She is the naked girl who lives on Fresno Drive. Woo! She is the naked girl, the naked girl, the naked girl. She is the naked girl who lives on Fresno Drive. Woo!
That's delighted with happiness. And yes, her favorite nursery rhyme is, she is the naked girl, but we'll get past that nursery rhyme for now. So when you think about delighting your customer with happiness, I want you to think about two things. I want you to think about the naked girl nursery rhyme, and I want you to think about John Weller jumping in the pool. That is what you want. That is delight. That is how you want your customers to feel after they buy product from you. You want to delight them. All right, the second thing on what you can do to help yourself grow better is realizing that how you sell is more important than what you sell. And there's a really good analogy for this that I want to show you guys that I think we can all resonate with. I asked myself, what does Starbucks sell? Pretty straightforward. Who knows what Starbucks sells? Coffee. Everyone says coffee. You're right. Starbucks sells coffee, just like you guys sell flooring. But that's not the right question to ask. It's, what does Starbucks offer? Because yes, they sell coffee, but we all know that's like a $7 grande, venti, I don't know all the Italian words that they use. That's a damn expensive cup of coffee. Because what they've realized is they don't sell coffee, they offer a delightful experience. If you think about Starbucks, it's not just a cup of coffee. You go in there, you listen to some pretty terrible Spotify playlist, you sit down on your computer, you know, it's cozy in there. Maybe you get one of those cake pops or an egg bite. It's nice, relaxing, maybe do some work. They really sell an experience. It's actually to the point where they considered charging more for coffee when you come inside because you get the full experience versus if you just go through drive-through that you're just getting a cup of coffee. And the economics make sense. And I want to talk about the economics of Starbucks because it really makes me think about you guys as flooring store owners. So take a look at this. I didn't study econ, but this is about as far as I can go. So we all said that Starbucks sells coffee. So let's take this down to its bare minimum level, coffee beans. If they were just selling coffee beans, their ability to charge $7 wouldn't be there. It's a total commodity product, right? The differentiation is essentially zero. Everyone has coffee beans. And their pricing leverage is very, very small. They cannot charge a premium for just coffee beans because it's a commodity. Now let's take this one step further. Maybe they put the coffee in a fancy bag and they write organic with a whole bunch of interesting colors. Well then, sure, there's a little differentiation. Maybe their branding is better, maybe their colors are better, maybe their ingredients are better, and they get just a little bit more pricing leverage. Then when you go in, they give you service. They make a cup of coffee, they do that fun swirl thing on top of the cappuccino, it's fun in there. And by giving you that experience of making the coffee, there's a further differentiation and pricing leverage. Right? So again, I want you to see the progression. If they were just offering the commodity coffee beans, no differentiation, no pricing leverage, to product, which is the coffee bag, to service. But if you look at really what they offer, they're offering an experience. Right? They are offering an experience. And if you were to ask a Starbucks coffee drinker, where do you want to get coffee? They'll drive 10 minutes further down the road to go get that Starbucks experience and pay 3 times as much as probably every other coffee that they passed. And why they do that is because they've gone from being just a commodity product to realizing what they offer matters more than what they sell, and offering that experience allows them to differentiate themselves. So I hope Debbie's in the audience. Where's Debbie? I hope you're somewhere. All right, there's Debbie. Perfect. I'm picking on Debbie here for a second. What does Debbie at Carpet and Tile Warehouse sell? Come on, say it out loud. We all know. Carpet, tile, sure, flooring. Correct, good answer. But the real question Debbie should be asking herself, I'm going to ask her to participate here, so Debbie, hopefully you're ready. The question that we should be asking is, what does Carpet and Tile Warehouse offer, right? It's not about what we sell. We all sell flooring, but just like the coffee beans, that's commodity. Let's talk about what we offer on how we can differentiate our pricing and increase our margins. And I got to spend some time in the Carpet and Tile Warehouse showroom, and I've seen these pictures, and if you think about what they offer a full experience. They have our business management software, they have our payment processing, they use sample ordering with all of our partners, they have an in-store visualizer. This is a true photo of a family that came in to use all of the types of experiences. And you can see, this is an experience. This isn't a product. This isn't a commodity. This is a true experience. And Debbie, I'm going to ask you to stand up here for a second. I know you went from offering, being a flooring store that was offering product, and then you adapted all this technology, and that turned into an experience. Can you tell us, going from offering product to a full experience, how that's impacted your margins? And you might have to speak very loudly because you might have to scream. Stand up. Give Debbie a round of applause because I picked her and she has no idea what's about to happen.
So once we embraced the full broad range of your products, the entire technology stack, we began to understand our numbers so much better. Thank you. We started to realize how much we gave away. Yesterday, we celebrated 26 years in business.
Round of applause.
25 years is when we finally launched Rollmaster software. We were lucky if we were netting a 25 to 35% markup, not margin, markup. Now, we start at 50% on most products, margin. Other products were much higher. So we may lose some sales because we're finally getting what we should be getting, but what we do close, it's a higher profit margin. I would rather close fewer deals at a higher profit margin than close a high volume of deals at 18 to 30% markup.
And Debbie, can you tell us, actually, you're the one that posted these photos. These guys obviously went through the experience. Can you just tell us the quick story of these folks that went through the experience and what that was like?
It took them about a year from the time they first ordered samples shipped to their home. They live in Miramar, Florida. We're in Vero Beach, Florida, so that is approximately a 3-hour drive. They didn't even call to see if we were open. They just loaded everybody in the car. They came in clutching that beautiful box of broadloom samples. And when it came time to get to the kiosk, she goes, oh, I don't need help. I know how to do it. She just walked right up there, started helping herself, started laying all this. I mean, it was the most amazing experience, the most amazing day. And I sold $12,000 worth of product in 5 minutes.
And she drove 3 hours to get you.
3.5 hours.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie, for telling us that. So that's what I mean about creating an experience. And again, there's a lot of manufacturers here that are bought into the experience of sample ordering and visualization. And this is just one example of the thousands of examples I've heard, which is why we're excited to have this group of suppliers and manufacturers here who are bought in on helping you guys create this delightful experience where hopefully we can have people drive 3 hours with the sample box to come to your store to purchase something for $12,000 at 50% margin. I think we can all agree that would be pretty great. So again, I want to take this back to my 101 economics. If you offer flooring, just flooring, you're at a race to the bottom. There's no differentiation. I know in flooring we think there's differentiation, but for a customer, that's gray carpet, that's brown flooring that looks like wood. There's no pricing leverage. Now, maybe you package that up with pad and transitions and a few other things, and sure, now you have a bundle of a product. Maybe you can make a little bit more margin on it. Maybe there's some pricing leverage, a little bit. Then you add service. Okay, you have expert service. You teach them about the products. You measure. You do a few other things. And okay, well, you were really nice. You measured. You had great service. All right, maybe you can charge 40 points margin now. Maybe not. But when you are able to offer that full experience from sample ordering to pay online right on my website to visualization to you delighting the customer, you can go from what Debbie said, 25% markup to 50% margin because you're creating a better experience. So again, it's not about what you sell, it's about how you sell it. If you don't take it from Debbie, take it from Starbucks. Those guys are selling a $7 cup of coffee. Right? You can do the same thing if you treat your showroom like an experience, not a place to buy a product. So listen, I don't want to stand up here and point fingers. It's the same thing at Broadloom, right? What does Broadloom sell? We sell software. Right? We sell websites, we sell online and in-store visualizer, lead management, integrated payment processing, business management software. We sell software. But we've really looked at ourselves and said, just like we're having this exercise with you guys here, we had the same exercise internally. And we said, no, it's not about what we sell. What do we want to offer? Like, what do we want to offer our customers? We know we want to delight our customers, but we want to offer them the experience of growing better. Right? So at Broadloom, you'll see us challenge ourselves throughout the next year of, and I go back to that quote, we don't have to build 10 times more products or make the product's 10 times more sophisticated. We need to make it 10 times easier for you to work with us. We need to make it 10 times easier for you to reach out to us on our account management team. We need to delight you just like you need to delight your customers. So the last lesson I learned about growing a business and how we can all grow better is you have this opportunity to turn mistakes into marketing. And I know there's a ton of mistakes that as flooring retailers you may make or you may not make and the customer thinks you make, right? Like maybe they think you left the job site dirty. Maybe they think the sample that you installed doesn't match what was in the showroom or matches what's on their floor. Maybe they ordered too many boxes and don't understand why they can't just return the boxes. Maybe the communication wasn't great. There's a million mistakes that could happen, right? We make mistakes too. You guys have all seen it, and anytime there's a mistake and someone decides to go to Facebook to air out that mistake, you see, I'm the first one on there responding saying, hey, I'm so sorry. I'd love to fix this experience. Let me give you my phone number and my email, and please reach out to me. And I'll tell you, 99% of that time, the customer is so thankful. They reach back out to me, they're apologetic, and we get it figured out. But on top of that, I get 50 retailers who are watching that are saying, wow, this company's really great. They really, really care, right? Because we turn mistakes, we own it, but we turn the mistakes into marketing. So I want to challenge you guys to think about these types of mistakes. How can you own it and then turn those mistakes into good marketing or good PR? And if you look, we pulled this stat, 96% of people are willing to continue to buy from you if you simply own your mistake, right? So if you simply are just willing to own the mistake, be honest and upfront about it, 96% of people are willing to continue to buy from you, and then you can turn that mistake into marketing. And just like I gave you the Starbucks example, I have a really similar example from a company, one of my favorite companies in the country. That's KFC. How many people like KFC? Raise your hand if you like KFC. Yeah, it's like a guilty pleasure. Everyone loves KFC, come on. So KFC is a really good case study of turning mistakes into marketing and owning it. So I think it was 4 years ago, KFC, AKA Kentucky Fried Chicken, they sell chicken. But there was a time where they switched vendors. And for about a week, they had no chicken. They were literally just Kentucky Fried Nothing. They were a store that was Kentucky Fried Nothing. And let me tell you, it hurt, and the company got crushed. Here's actually a graph of what happened. If you look in March 2018 to about April of 2018, you can see the attention on the brand skyrocketed. Attention was essentially flat throughout all of 2018. People were like, yeah, KFC, whatever, good chicken. But from March to May, people were outraged. Everyone was talking about KFC, and if you look at the bottom graph in the black, you could see how negative the perception was. You never want to see this. More people are talking about you, and it's getting more negative. And that's what happened to KFC, and let me tell you, if you sell Kentucky Fried Chicken and there's no chicken, you're just selling Kentucky, and that's not going to do much for people's hunger. So what did they do? Right? What did they do to try to solve this? And they hired a giant agency to be like, we're in crisis mode. We need to turn our mistakes into marketing like right now because we have no chicken. So they launched this ad. That's pretty good. Right? So they launched this ad. They took out, although they were bleeding money because they had no chicken to sell, they launched this ad. They took out in like almost every major newspaper, a TV commercial, and just said, yeah, FCK, am I right? And then, let me read this if you can't say it. They said, we're sorry, a chicken restaurant without any chicken. It's not ideal. Huge apologies to our customers, especially those who have traveled out of their way to find out we were closed. They apologized for their mistake. They turned it into marketing. And you know what? It worked out really, really well for them. So if you look at what happened, in red you'll see initially there was 53,000 mentions of this chicken shortage in February 2018. 53,000 people across the country were yelling and screaming that there was no more fried chicken, there was just Kentucky, a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Then they launched this marketing campaign, and this marketing campaign had in total over 1 billion impressions, and it reached over 6 million people. And after they got the chicken back in stock, they had their #1 sales month ever. So they went from having literally a crisis of running out of chicken for about, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks, no chicken at all. They had to close 900 stores. 900 stores were closed because they had no chicken to sell, but they realized that they could turn this mistake into marketing. They could own it, turn it into marketing. They could say, you know what, we're now FCK, and then they had the best month ever. So I'm asking you guys to think about the mistakes that you make or may not make, and how can you own those mistakes, but turn those mistakes into marketing to your advantage, not just sit there and be defensive and tell the customer that they're wrong all the time. I think they now have all the chicken, I'm pretty sure. So, in summary, if you want to grow better, there's 3 things you can do. And there's one thing I recommend you don't do, is lay on that, because I'll use that photo in every presentation if you keep doing that. The first thing, build a company that thinks about the customer first, right? I talked about this. You need to be customer first and customer obsessed, not company obsessed and customer eventually. You need to remember that how you sell is more important than what you sell, right? The example of Starbucks I gave you, if you just want to sell coffee, you're not going to have any price differentiation. If you're just going to sell product, you're not going to sell 50% margins. You need to think about how you sell not what you sell. And just like KFC, FCK, you need to turn your mistakes into marketing. Now, this presentation was inspired by one of my favorite presentations ever by a company called HubSpot. It was something that I watched that inspired me throughout the entire last year, and I wanted to share it with you guys. If you're interested, I'll share you. They made an hour-and-a-half video about this. So if you're interested afterwards, I'm happy to send you the video. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. As always, phone number on screen, email, reach out to me whenever. We truly, truly want to work with you to help you grow better, and we want to delight you. And if we're not delighting you, we're going to figure out a way to do so. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you being here, and excited to bring on the next speaker.